that issue. But now to the issue of anti-Semitism and the special envoy, Gillian Segal, who has proposed widespread changes, including the ability to strip funding from universities which refuse to tackle the issue. Now, the plan, very interestingly, also mentions potential new powers related to public broadcasters such as the ABC.
Just finally, you spoke briefly about the role of the public broadcasters in your report. What are your concerns with the media coverage of the ABC?
Well, I think that, the public broadcasters, again, consistent with what we were just discussing, are using public money. And they are very important vectors of cultural, development in the country. And we need to see them being very balanced and putting a case for a particular viewpoint and then in a civil way, the alternative case. And I've had a lot of feedback from members of the community, both the Jewish community and the non-Jewish community, that they don't see that what we see on the ABC is necessarily balanced. And so it's something that I want to look at and monitor and talk to the ABC about and see what we can do to ensure that the Australian public are getting a fair look at any issue from both sides. And that is not to stop civil debate, and it's not to in any way restrict what journalists do, but it's to say, let's look at it from the different perspectives, because then we have a robust democracy.
Let's bring the panel in to discuss. Kel, very interesting comments there. The ABC, I think, would find itself in some difficulties if these powers were to be enacted. Obviously, the big caveat is that Anthony Albanese, even though I think the media, a little bit of misreporting on this one, a lot of people in the media have been saying, well, this is Anthony Albanese's plan to tackle anti-Semitism. He's only said that he'll consider this proposal. So people that want him to do more on this issue, I do think that Anthony Albanese has been falsely given perhaps too much credit. But on the more controversial parts, the universities funding the rug pull if they do something wrong, very controversial. As well would it be if you are an ABC journalist and you're being told to adhere to certain external principles.
Yep. Look, the basic problem here is when we want to talk about some sort of balance, but there is no balance when you represent morality and immorality. And in the end, anti-Semitism is saying kill Jews. That's what it means. On my radio show once, I had a talkback caller who'd lived in Germany for some years tell me that they have stopped using the term anti-Semitism because it's not strong enough, and they call it Jew hatred. And you look at the slogans they're using on the street. Now, admittedly, a lot of the people are stupid and don't know them. But, from the river to the sea meant we want Palestine to occupy where Israel is. That means either deportation or death for 7 million Jews. That's what they're saying. There's no balance to that. You can't put a balance and say, no, only kill 3.5 million Jews. There isn't any balance to it. It is morally wrong. The death to the IDF is actually saying kill young Jewish men and women who've been called up to the armed services. That is violent, it is evil, and you don't say we're going to have balance between good and evil. We'll have some evil things on, and they'll be allowed to call for the deaths of some Jewish people.
Yes.
So what the ABC doesn't understand, what the universities don't understand is when something evil is happening, you don't look for balance, you simply say evil is wrong. At some point, a moral stand has to be taken. You can't say these people have to be killed. You can't say the Jewish community is hated and deserves to die. Now, that's just wrong from the beginning to the end. And Albanese is really guilty about this. Albanese has given us words and no actions. Even with this that's come out, and people are saying, oh, very good, Albanese policy, he's still not doing anything. What will he do to implement it? We have no idea. He is inactive, he is doing nothing, he is mouthing words, and what is happening is not a question of balance between do you like Israel or not, it's a matter of evil, of people who want to kill Jews. That has to be stopped, and it has to be stopped strongly. And until that happens, we've achieved nothing.
Yeah, Darren, I'd love to get your thoughts on the broader issues, I think, being discussed in this action plan, but also on Kel's point about Anthony Albanese's role in this and the fact that he hasn't said that he is going to introduce every single measure. There is that I will consider it. He is one step away from it. What do you make of all this?
Well, I feel the recommendations are long overdue, very necessary. I think universities that ignore anti-Semitism do deserve to lose their funding, and the same applies to the ABC. It's taxpayer funded. Its reporting should be balanced. It should reflect the diversity of its audience. I think that's a sentiment echoed by both the Jewish community and non-Australians. We know that from our readers at the Australian newspaper. We get that feedback a lot about the ABC's coverage. And, you know, balanced reporting, civil debate are absolutely foundational to democracy. So let's hope that the recommendations do go ahead. And it's, you know, it is, as I said, it's overdue. It's about time that this very, very serious issue was addressed. It's been 2 years now since October the 7th, and that, you know, there's not been strong enough action up until this point.
Yep, well, ball's in the government's court now. Moving on.